our means to commemorate important events and to help to keep our unity and our traditions alive through the years. This year is special for the Avoca Cultural Society as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. This is indeed a milestone event for a small community in Avoca, known decades ago as Pulwa Place. And as a Samaj, we are internationally celebrating 200 years since the birth of Swami Dayanand, the founder of the Arya Samaj. The celebration is over this year and next. All our Samaj activities is dedicated to commemorating the fearless Swami Dayanand, who was also assassinated for his courageous principles. This year marks generations of the Back to the Vedas influence on society. Now to Krishna Ashtami. In celebrating the birth and life of Krishna, we acknowledge the profound impact that the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita has had in crystallizing the jewels of the Vedas and bringing them to life. Krishna came to be known as Yogeshwara and was regarded as the epitome of Dharma Shastra in laying the foundation of righteousness in life. The Bhagavad Gita is a 700-verse Hindu text in Sanskrit that is part of the Hindu epic known as the Mahabharata. It is also known as the Battle of Kurukshetra. The Gita is a dialogue between Pandava Prince Arjuna and his guide, the charioteer Krishna. Facing the duty as a warrior to fight in the war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, Arjuna is counseled by Krishna to fulfill his role as a Kshatriya, that is, a warrior. One of the important themes in the Gita is duty. The wisdom and lessons of the Gita are timeless. During this time of the year, we reflect more intensely on its teachings. In this way, the Gita becomes our charioteer for life. Our next speaker is Dr. Ramvilas, who really needs no introduction in the Samaj family, except to say that as a Sanskrit scholar, he is our foremost charioteer in the teaching of the Vedas and religion. It is said, Nasti Tadvam Guru Param. There is nothing higher than your Guru. Today, it is our absolute privilege to call upon him to share his insights into the true meaning of Bandhu. Dr. Ramvilas.
Namaste. It's such a pleasure. It's such a beautiful crowd, and I've always belonged not just to my immediate nuclear family, but to the greater family of Avoca and the Samaj. So it's really heartwarming to see the entire extended family present here. Thank you very much for being here. And of course, as you get older, there's nothing that pleases you more than to have family around. I think you'll understand that. So thank you once again. Look, when it comes to Ubuntu and the concept of Bandhu, you've heard me speak about it. For those of you that haven't, there's a presentation, it's on YouTube, right? You can ask Swamiji as well. It's on his site as well. It's called Ubuntu Ubu Hindu Dialogue. Right? And the word Ubuntu is very close to the word Bandhu. And you all know the word Bandhu because when we chant about Ishwara Upasana, we say Sa no Bandhur Janita Sa Vidhata. So if you break that up, it says Sa Naha Bandhu, Sa Naha Janita, Sa Naha Vidhata. He is our Bandhu, not the one that we share a special bond with. He is our Janita, Janma dene wala Janita, and he is our Vidhata, the one who sustains us. So when we chant that, then there's the other one that says Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha. So it says while I share this Ghat Bandhan, when we marry, we have this Bandhan that we call Ghat Bandhan that is tied between the husband and wife. During Raksha Bandhan, there is a bond between the brother and sister. Each time it is symbolized by the tying of a thread. By tying that thread, we bind ourselves to these values and virtues. So similarly, when we don the Janeu, right, again, it's a bandhan. Right? Here the bandhan is three. It's called Devrin, Pitririn, and Rishirin. Devrin is our commitment to all the devatas. And by devatas, we are talking about the rivers, the trees, the sun. These are our devatas. Why? I keep on telling you, jo deta hai, wo devata hai. Right? Because everything that we have comes from these elements. Our body is made up of the elements, and finally, when we depart, we say all these elements return to the respective elements. So, this bandhan, right, is the word that we get the English word bond and bind from. And both in the African and Indian traditions, we have bandhan. Bandhu, expressed by this bond that we share. And in the African spirit, the tradition, Ubuntu, they use the word kindred spirit. They speak of a spirit that we all share, that we are bound by. That spirit of working for the goodwill of everybody else, like the trees and the rivers, giving always, never expecting anything in return. So, it is on this note, if I seem to be a bit forgetful, I want to remember Naren as well. I didn't mention so. Naren Bhaiji, you know, has been recently so actively involved in the Arya Samaj. Really, it was such a wonderful experience being with him, working at the ABH and at the Ved Mandir. He became involved with his heart and soul, and really that night when he spoke, before he had that little problem, you could see he was overwhelmed. It was wonderful. It was like a dawn of a new realization, although he's been with the Samaj for all these days. So, and on the last, I just want to say that I must mention that as a president emeritus of Arya Samaj, we are grateful that the BRICS conference took place here, Aarti Benji. Those of you that were there, it was a wonderful privilege. And that we must remember the bond again between Africa and India. Chandrayaan took place while Modi landed, while Modi was here in South Africa, and he gave that famous address of his, that message. And the beauty of it was, he says, look, this is progress, not just for India, but for mankind, for humanity at large. And invited the world to join hands with India so that we could all progress together. So let us, in that spirit, celebrate Raksha Bandhan and spread this message of universal love. Nobody else can do it besides Africa and India, because otherwise, people, we are caught up too much in colonialism and capturing and conquering each other and showing our good. Veena and others that have come especially for the function, thank you very much for being here. To all of you, namaste, and Tokuji, thank you once again for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramvilas, for that wonderful exposition. As we always say, we are grateful for the teaching, the teacher, and the tradition of learning. Albert Einstein said, when I read the Bhagavad Gita and reflect about how God created this universe, everything else seems so superfluous. Krishna has been a spiritual inspiration to artists for thousands of years. His different qualities are regarded as a manifestation of the one supreme God, who is the creator, preserver, and dissolver of the universe. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma, I am God. As we celebrate the different aspects of spirituality, let us forever remember that God is that one omnipresent being that we regard as Om. We now go into a bhajan from the movie Lagan. The bhajan is O Palan Hare, the one who nurtures us. Please do join in and sing along with us.
आपका विज्ञान छोटा दिलचस्प और बहुत बढ़िया। तो अगर जो आप लिख के गए हैं रखे होते तो मैं उसका कॉपी चाहूँगा।
It is now a privilege to welcome a spiritual luminary, Swami Vedananji. He is revered for dedicating his life to the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment and the upliftment of humanity, and also guiding many to their own self-realization. He has the sole privilege of introducing our much esteemed guest, Swamiji.
My dearest embodiments of peace and love, my prem namaste to each and every one of you. It is an absolute honor and pleasure for me to introduce to you our dearest Toki Mohoto. Toki Mohoto defines himself as expressive, self-conscious, and adaptable. He prides himself with having had a successful and diverse career spanning fields of marketing, business sciences, human resources, social entrepreneurship, developmental sciences, business process engineering, organizational design, and community development. He was born and bred in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, where he found the environment to be ripe with social challenges and poor access to information, which when used correctly has the potential to change the socio-cultural landscape of communities. Spotting these gaps, he felt it wise to relocate to Gauteng, where he was party to various religious, socio-economic, and academic formations, which helped him gain a broader understanding of the politics behind poverty, empowerment, and human rights. Relocating back to Durban after successful 13 years in various provinces and countries outside of South Africa, he focused his energies on providing solutions to social ills and certain gaps he found disheartening. Out of these various encounters, observations, and love for people development, Toki wrote and self-published 4 titles. One is entitled, Shh, We Don't Call It Abuse. 2, Father, Hear My Cry. 3, Choices Then and Now. And 4, Mutimwami. He decided to not only complain, but also reflect and focus his expertise on how best to take the message to the people who need it the most. It was then where he conceptualized 3 holistic projects, Mutiwami, Man Up, and Project Caste Abuse, which will in part address the same topics he's passionate about: disability, qualitative development, youth empowerment, diversity management, welfare, and peace-building initiatives both within and outside of South Africa. He now focuses his energies on research, mentoring youth, human rights activism, and participating in platforms which advocate for inclusive, qualitative, targeted, and sustainable development of individuals, communities, and multiple stakeholders he works with. Toki is a former radio producer and a host of a talk show, and currently the producer of other media programs. He also lectures and consults in business administration, moderates and facilitates projects, dialogues, and creatively assists consular officers on heritage and social cohesion related work. He is the former cultural ambassador for the Consulate General of India in Durban and arts ambassador for the USA Embassy, and now sits on the boards of Sotu Villa, African Heritage Collective, which is an NGO, Ahiko TV, Ahiko Radio, the Nanda Suban Arts Education Foundation, AYACO, which is empowering youth to act and change outcome, another NGO, and Road Exchange Pty Limited. Most of his time now is focused on arts development and special interest projects, grooming SMMEs, business consultancy, and chairing and managing youth-led entities. It is my great privilege to call upon Toki Mohoto to address us.
Greetings, everyone. I always want to faint when something related to my bio is read. I always feel overwhelmed. Thank you so much for inviting us to be with you today. I feel born again. After the ceremony that was performed, I found and saw so many similarities with what we do. So part of the many things that I do, I'm also a traditional healer. As you can see, I think this is indicative of that. But most importantly, cultural diplomacy for me reigns supreme in all that I do, because this is where we can unite, this is where we can engage, understand, be empathetic to, as well as grow collectively as humans. Now, I was invited to speak briefly on Ubuntu, or the relationship it has with Bantu. Now, a late friend of mine, we were busy writing a book, right? It was going to be looking at the 7 C's of Ubuntu, but I just want to focus on 4. But before I get there, I think I'm the only person who truly qualifies to be a United Nations citizen. Why so? The name I have, Toki, of course, I always post to my friends and say I'm the only Toki Mohoto I know on Facebook. So there's some pressure there I have. So the name comes from Japan. It stands for time of opportunity. And the surname is Asian as well. I don't know what my parents were doing in Asia, but I'm Asian. And then from the maternal side, they're Mozambican, and from the paternal side, they're Basutus. But there's a mix of Nama, or so-called Khoi, or the Kwenas, as they would call themselves. As they've said, I was born and bred here in KZN, but most importantly, I think I'm a world citizen, because when I was in primary, which was obviously an African school, my parents felt that I needed to know English better for me to survive. And then I went to even for secondary, which is in Phoenix, right, next to the Phoenix Plaza. And the one thing which allowed me a purview into cultural diplomacy was when I think our teacher was A. Suktio, and there's a beautiful song that she used to teach us. He used to go, Ane, Ane, Simpai, Ane. I don't know what it went, but I remember at some point that it saved my life. So from that experience, I grew to know that not only am I a world citizen, but I have a responsibility to always make sure that wherever I am, I unite communities. Now, the 4 things that I spoke of when you speak of Ubuntu, there's community, which I'd like to start with. When you speak of community, I remarked to the Swami to say, I always love how connected and united the Indian community appears. Obviously, there are some challenges that we have in our community. I can't divorce them for now, but we'll sort them out someday. So when you speak of community, you speak of a collaboration rather, or you speak of a system by which everyone is responsible and everyone pulls their weight for the greater good and collective development of community, right? So this is what Ubuntu embraces. Now, another thing that I want to touch on, I'll still expand briefly on this, is creativity. Ubuntu and creativity goes hand in hand, because we also believe that the creator is very creative. So we as human beings have a similar responsibility to also be creative, not only in our artistic or other endeavors, but also to make sure that when we interact with nature, we do so creatively, as nature also creates things as well as allows us to interact there creatively too. So the third one that I would like to speak of is compassion, right? One of the principles which sustain Ubuntu is compassion. We always say, Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. You are, or I am, because they are, or we are as a community. And we also have a saying in our traditions and culture which says, it takes a village to raise a child, right? You cannot be part of a village if you're not compassionate. And you cannot be compassionate if you do not have self-love. You cannot have self-love, you have no connectivity with your deities or energy entities that live and breathe through you, right? So one of the important things that we also embrace in our culture or traditions is to make sure that the symbiotic relation we have between either the biodiversity as well as us as humans, or us as spirit entities as well as the cosmos, remains alive and well. It's a beautiful ceremony that we've just had here, because there was a lot of fire elements involved in it, and I think 2 days ago I was at the river trying to balance the two, right? So it's come to full circle now. So the important thing that we have also in our traditions is always to make sure that more than just understanding who you are at an individual level, you need to understand and know your forebears. So Ubuntu always encourages that, right? And most of us, as you can see here, I've mixed so many cultures and traditions, because I feel that I was just not born by the Basutus, as I rightfully stated. But there's a mix of energies and entities, and along my episode, a number of individuals who have allowed me to be this qualitative person, which I think I am. Now, the responsibility then becomes, you cannot be given much and not have a heart to want to give back to people. How do you give back to people? It does not always have to be monetary value. This is what I always encourage people that I work with. You can always become an angel investor. A skill alone could be important, something to share. Your compassion could also be something or currency that you share. And some of the work that we do with some consular offices is try not to look at how does diplomacy or how do global relations play out in terms of either looking at the BRICS conglomerate, but also communities at the grassroots level. Do they have a connection amongst themselves? Do they have a sense of compassion? Do they understand each other to want to know what the challenges with my neighbor are? And if need be, how can I assist? But most importantly, when you look at the schools that we work with, we always encourage kids to be creative. So I also work for the National Arts Council of South Africa, and part of the work that we do is try and encourage creativity in all its facets, right? And one of the, some of the other things we do is when we visit schools, we always try and encourage creativity, and we say, in as much as there are 16 disciplines that are known by many people right in the creative economy, but mostly focus on performance arts. So it will be your music, your dancing, it'll be sometimes your writing and one side, right? But what we try and encourage is look at the 16 disciplines and locate yourself within one and make that your life's mission. You could be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, an advocate, and what have you, but you always have to have creativity because it reminds us to be our childhood selves, right? And this is important because when you look at Ubuntu, Ubuntu says, I am because they are, so I cannot be happy if my community is not yet happy, right? I cannot be free if the people next to me are not free. I cannot be loved if the people next to me do not exude the same qualities as those either I espouse or I am pursuing at that time, right? So in settings like this, when you hear of Bantu, I also thought of Bantu, right? And Ubuntu is a derivative of that, right? So Abantu, you're looking at people as we are seated here, but these are different individuals, right? They come from different homes, they've got different passions, habits, they've got different yearnings and anxieties, social pressures and what have you. But ultimately, when you're in this room, or this is a community, let's make an example of this being a community, you always ask yourself, what is the energy that is in this room? Am I happy when I walk in? Do I feel welcomed when I walk in? Do I feel like I'm part of the collective whole? Do I feel like the world is going to be a better place because I'm part of that community? Or do I feel that because of my existence on planet Earth, so much for future generations is going to be gained? Or am I wasteful, right? So when you take that personal reflection at an individual level, you cannot want to be part of a community in a setting of Ubuntu as Umuntu and not want to be a collective developer of that community, right? And you also cannot want to interact and relate with individuals without having introspected first and found out what is my life's mission. I may be rich, I may be well-to-do, there are those that do not have resources or bare necessities, but my life's mission compared to what the Creator purposed for me is what we are going to know you for. More than accesses or more than maybe privileges that you had at a physical level, right? So part of Ubuntu also is encouraging spirituality. And we believe that spirituality in an Ubuntu setting is done when we need to be initiated. Like I told you about the different forebears that walk with me every time. Whenever each one comes and visits me, whenever each one comes and visits me, I need to acknowledge it according to its or their state. I need to acknowledge what it is that they need. I need to also acknowledge what it is that they love. If they loved eating sweets, I need to eat sweets for the day, for example, or enjoy sweets. If, for example, it was somebody who loved music, in as much as I cannot sing to save my life, but for the day, I'll immerse myself in music because ultimately, the quality of life I'm going to have, according to Ubuntu, is enhanced by those that came before you. And most importantly, your legacy as a human being is what you're going to leave for those that come after you based on the quality of life that you lived and obviously the values that you espoused whilst you're on earth. So with these short words, thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this event or ceremony. And most importantly, thank you for always encouraging the virtues that allow us to be human. But more than just human, they allow the God essence in us to always rise. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mahoto. Our guest speaker today is reflective of that culture of guidance and mentorship that the Gita has entrenched in it. There could be no better guest speaker than Mr. Mahoto, who has highlighted so many themes and created so many forward thought processes for our future work as South Africans in the Samaj. Thank you, Mr. Mahoto. As a token of appreciation and deep gratitude for your support and being a friend of the Samaj, I call upon our president, Pandit Arya, to present you for the token. is also the time for Raksha Bandhan, a celebration involving the tying of thread, and this is a commitment of a sister's love and prayer for her brother's well-being. In a world that is so full with violence on women, these kinds of celebrations that encourage goodwill and mutual respect become even more significant. Raksha Bandhan celebrates this wonderful bond. The tying of Rakhi is a sister's love and prayer for her brother's well-being and the brother's lifelong vow to protect her. Almost all of us are familiar with Hindi and have listened to our elder folk talk Bhojpuri. Rakhiya Bandhalo Bhaiya is a Bhojpuri song expressing the bond between a brother and sister. So we are all familiar with the frills that go with the actual tying of the thread. If you follow the simple lyrics, this song will bring back many memories. Let us enjoy this bhajan as the young members of the Avoca Cultural Society tie the Rakhi. Before the song plays, I call Mridu to get all the kids to come forward to do the tying of the Rakhi.
रखिया बन्हल भैया दामन लाई जिया तुला
Thank you, children. Let's hope that the bond you share lasts a lifetime. In India, the month that we are now in is called Shravan or Savan, and it is in this month that Shravani is celebrated. The word is derived from the Sanskrit word shru, which means to listen. It was during this time that people listened to the recital of the Vedas. And owing to its importance, I cannot help but repeat what Dr. Ramvilas spoke about earlier. Shravani celebrations are synonymous with the adorning of tying of threads and with taking vrat. A vrat is a commitment to our duties, to anything that we do. You would have observed the adorning of the Janot during the hour. The 3 threads represent commitment to Rishiran, that is a commitment to passing the knowledge of the Vedas, and a commitment to persons or institutions responsible for imparting knowledge. 2, Pitriran, respecting our parents and elders. And 3, Devran, respect for nature. One of the other important commitments that we must all make is our commitment to making our country better. A flag is a symbol of our identity as South Africans. When the flag is raised, it serves as a reminder of our nation's history, struggles, and achievements. Flag hoisting brings people together, fostering a sense of unity and solidarity among us. A flag transcends differences and unites people under a common symbol. We are so blessed and proud that our very own Sri Veena Lakshmanji, whose musical talents have left audiences in awe time and time again. She has an extraordinary gift for creating beautiful melodies and harmonies. Today we are going to play her Hindi translation of our national anthem as we raise the flag of our country and the Om flag of our religion. Veeraji's most cherished album is called Cherish South Africa, a translation of the South African national anthem with Indian music composition was a way to get South Africans of Indian origin to appreciate the South African national anthem from a perspective of owning it in a language close to their hearts. Please join us and remember always, Jhanda Uncha Rahe Hamara. I call Dr. Veena Lakshman, Mr. Toki Mohoto, Pandit Aarti Shannon, Mrs. Pratima Balwan, and Dr. Ramvilas to conduct the hosting of the flag together with some of the children of the Avoca Cultural Society. While the song is playing and after they raise the flag, we will also have some time of the Rakhi as well. So if we can all please rise. And we will play the song while they are raising the flag.
Thank you.
may be seated. Thank you. Here's wishing that all South Africans develop a sense of unity and solidarity that we pray for. A bhajan is a means of spiritual expression and connecting with the divine. Bhajans are devotional songs that have been part of Indian culture for centuries, fostering a sense of unity and devotion. You are encouraged to please join and sing along. The bhajan is Bharosa Kar, have faith.
नहीं होगा तुझे धोखा, नहीं होगा तुझे धोखा, नहीं होगा।
Thank you everyone for joining in. Let us now celebrate the Gita by spending a few minutes reflecting on the soul and the purpose of life.
मृत्यु तो केवल एक पड़ाव है पार्थ, केवल एक पड़ाव। सांस का अंत पवन का अंत नहीं है। यूं समझो पार्थ कि प्राणी तो पहले बालक होता है, फिर वो बालक युवा हो जाता है, फिर वो युवा वृद्ध और फिर मृत्यु। किंतु ये यात्रा तो शरीर की है। आत्मा तो इससे भी आगे जाता है। वो एक शरीर को त्याग कर कोई और शरीर धारण कर लेता है। इसलिए जो यात्रा मृत्यु पर समाप्त हो जाए वो तो केवल शरीर की यात्रा है पार्थ, केवल शरीर की यात्रा है। न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित नायम भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः, अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे। आत्मा की यात्रा तो अनंत है पार्थ, और उसकी यात्रा के एक बिंदु पर शरीर पीछे छूट जाता है और यात्री आगे निकल जाता है, और वो बिल्कुल वैसे ही कोई नया शरीर पहन लेता है जैसे हम पुराना वस्त्र उतारकर नया वस्त्र पहन लेते हैं। वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि, तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि। हे पार्थ, विनाश तो आत्मा को छू ही नहीं सकता, तो फिर शोक कैसा, और किसके विनाश का? क्या वस्त्र के विनाश का? किंतु वस्त्र तो अमर नहीं होता, वो तो त्यागे जाने के लिए ही होता है। और आत्मा मरता नहीं, कभी नहीं मरता। किंतु वे जो सामने खड़े हैं, वे इस युद्ध के पश्चात सबके सब होंगे ना केशव, सबके सब होंगे ना। ये होना और ना होना क्या है पार्थ? क्योंकि वो समय तो कभी था ही नहीं जब मैं नहीं था, या तुम नहीं थे, या ये सारे लोग नहीं थे। और ना ही वो समय कभी होगा जब मैं नहीं होऊंगा, या तुम नहीं होगे, या ये सारे लोग भी नहीं होंगे। तो फिर तुम ये किस भ्रम में पड़ रहे हो पार्थ कि वर्तमान जीवन ही संपूर्ण जीवन है? वर्तमान जीवन संपूर्ण जीवन नहीं है पार्थ। हम थे भी, हम हैं भी, और हम होंगे भी। अब रहे ये सुख दुख, तो इनका क्या है? ये तो ऋतुओं की भांति है, आते जाते रहते हैं। हे कुंती पुत्र, जो सुख और दुख दोनों ही को समान समझे और उनसे प्रभावित हुए बिना ही उन्हें झेल जाए, वही स्थित प्रज्ञ है, और वही मोक्ष का अधिकारी भी है। मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुख दाह, आगमापायिनो नित्यान तान तितिक्षस्व भारत। हे भारत, मारने या मरने की आशंका से मुक्त हो जाओ, क्योंकि मृत्यु तो केवल उसी की हो सकती है ना जिसका जन्म हुआ हो। आत्मा तो कालातीत है, काल से भी परे है पार्थ। जन्म तो जीव का होता है, आत्मा का नहीं। और यदि आत्मा जन्म ही नहीं लेता तो उसकी मृत्यु कैसे हो सकती है? आत्मा तो बस है पार्थ, है। वो काल के दोनों तटों पर भी है और काल की धारा में भी। वो अजन्मा है, नित्य है, सनातन है, अविकारी है, अविनाशी है। इसलिए मारने या मरने के प्रश्न को लेकर चिंतित होना व्यर्थ है पार्थ। व्यर्थ है। मृत्यु तो केवल शरीर की होती है और उसकी मृत्यु के पश्चात भी आत्मा नहीं मरता, क्योंकि शस्त्र उसे काट नहीं सकता, अग्नि उसे जला नहीं सकती, जल उसे गीला नहीं कर सकता और वायु उसे सुखा नहीं सकती। नैनम छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनम दहति पावकः न चैनम क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः।
I hope you all enjoyed that clip. As we come to the conclusion, I just have an announcement. The Avoca Arya Samaj will be celebrating their Krishna Ashtami on Wednesday, the 6th of September at 6:30 at Claywood, and you are all invited to please join them. I just have an impromptu item. I believe Pandit Vishaka Singh is the instigator of this. I'm not sure what it is. I think I'll call her forward and ask that before we conclude.
An announcement that ACS turned 50, and it finished like that. We need to sing happy birthday. I was this size when it started. Everyone, it might not mean anything to you because I was still carrying you and playing. So Karan, come sing happy birthday. Everybody's going to. But you can't come. Can't do this without you. That's Mosi. I only know one line. Come. No, we won't hear. I only know the one line. I'm sure they won't have learned from it. I don't know it. I know one line, I've heard the other. Okay, I know one line and that's all I'm going to sing. If Mosi can run with the rest. Shubhada Janmadivam Tubhyam Shubha Janmadivam Tubhyam Shubha Janmadivam Tubhyam Happy birthday to ASSA. That's all I know. Well, this
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to ACS. Happy birthday to you. Bare bare din ye aaye. Bare bare dil ye gaaye. Bare bare din ye aaye. Bare bare dil ye gaaye. Tu jiye हजारों साल ये मेरी है आरज़ू. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to ACS. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, to mark our 50th, I was just sitting on it, just thinking, we produced a nice book called Pulwa Place. And the Post had even carried an article on it, produced a whole chunk of it in there. I think we'll probably republish the book this year. It'll be a nice way of preserving the heritage.
Thank you. We have now reached the end of the program, and we are blessed to have had a number of people who have contributed to this amazing function, to whom we must express gratitude. We would like to thank Pujya Swami Vedanand Saraswati and Pujya Swami Maitri for their guidance in our preparations. To Pandit Beni Madhav, our appreciation for conducting the Havan in a distinguished manner. To our guest speaker, Mr. Toki Mohoto, kindly accept our gratitude for a thought-provoking talk. To all our Yajmans, thank you to you for participating in today's Krishna Ashtami Havan. We really appreciate your presence. Dr. Veena Lachman, we are obliged to you for the music contribution. Our sincere gratitude to the Vedalankar family for their contribution towards the meals in memory of their late parents, who both passed away in August. We hope that you will continue to be blessed for your kindness. We are indebted also to Lekhaji and Shailen Bhai for their support and assistance. For sweetening our palates this morning, our appreciation goes to Mrs. Pratima Balwan for the prasad. So many members have contributed to the water, table and chairs, welcome drinks, etc. A big thank you to Hemant, Shiksha and Ketan for your contributions. Nisha and Ramesh of Sash Caterers have gone out of the way in decorating our hall by providing items out of their scope. You guys are shining stars. Thank you, Vidisha, for liaising with all the catering items and for sourcing all our incidentals for today's program. The presentation you witnessed today on the screen was made possible by Arya. Thank you, Arya, for your participation. Also, thank you to Rityu for all your technical support for today. To everyone who got together over the week and yesterday to put the program together, cleaning the hall, liaising with the outside role players, etc., the Samaj and Cultural Society remains grateful to all of you. We would like to acknowledge Vinod, Sarila, Sadhna, and Divya Ramklas for the family's support always. When Vinod heard that the Cultural Society was hosting this year's Krishna Ashtami program, he immediately called Divesh of Indian Delights and asked him to sort the lunch for today. Thank you. Thank you also to Divesh of Indian Delights for going the extra mile in making sure that all goes well today. To all of you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to grace us with your attendance. If I have omitted anyone, please accept our apologies and our sincere thanks go out to you as well. Thank you all. You have been a very attentive audience. We will now conclude with Aarti. Thereafter, Pandit Benimado will recite the Shantipat and mealtime prayer. Please do stay for lunch and do have a safe trip home. Please rise for the Aarti.
Swami Jai Jagadish Swami Sharan
We will recite the mealtime prayer before we do Shanti Path. Om Annavate Annasya Nodeya Nimayvasya Shushminaha Prapradhataram Tarisha Ujanno Dehi Vipade Chatushpade Shantariksham Shanti Prithivi Shantarapaha Shanti Oshadhaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shantir Vishwe Deva Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti